Ever wondered why we only use 10% of our brains? Or why we need to drink 8 glasses of water a day? Spoiler alert, both of these are myths. Today we're taking a deep dive into some of the most common scientific fallacies that have been accepted as truths. Prepare for a journey where we challenge these misconceptions, armed with evidence and logic. Ready to debunk some popular science myths? Buckle up because science is about to get real. Myth number 1, we only use 10% of our brains. This myth has been around for ages and it's a real head-scratcher. It often gets attributed to Albert Einstein, but there's no solid evidence to back that up. So, how did this myth come about? Well, it's a bit of a mystery, but some believe it may have originated from a misunderstood interpretation of neurological research, or even from the world of self-help, and the idea that we could achieve more if we could just tap into that unused 90%. However, scientific evidence tells a different tale. Neuroimaging studies have shown that all parts of the brain have a function, and even during sleep, areas such as the frontal cortex, which is responsible for things like decision-making and social behavior, are still active. So, the truth? We use every single part of our brains, not just 10%. Myth number 2, humans have only 5 senses. This statement has been accepted as fact by many, but it is a scientific misconception. Let's delve a little deeper. In addition to the traditional 5 sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch, scientists have identified several other senses that play crucial roles in our daily lives. For instance, consider the sense of balance. This sense, also known as the vestibular sense, helps us stay upright when standing or walking. Then there's thermoception, our ability to sense temperature changes. This sense allows us to feel the warmth of a sunny day or the chill of a snowfall. We also have proprioception, or the sense of body position, which enables us to touch our nose with our eyes closed. The list goes on, including pain, hunger, and even the perception of time. So the truth? Humans have far more than just 5 senses. Myth number 3, water conducts electricity. Now isn't that a shocker? Well, it may shock you even more to learn that this isn't entirely accurate. In fact, it's the impurities in water that conduct electricity, not the water itself. Let's think about it for a second. Pure distilled water is essentially H2O, right? And H2O, in its purest form, lacks the free ions that are necessary to conduct an electric current. You see, for electricity to flow, you need a current, and for a current you need charged particles or ions. So, where do these ions come from in everyday water? Well, they come from the salts, minerals, and other impurities that are commonly found in the water we encounter daily. These impurities ionize in water, creating the necessary conditions for electricity to flow. So, the truth? Pure water does not conduct electricity. Myth number 4, lightning never strikes the same place twice. This saying has been around for ages, but is it grounded in fact? Not exactly. Science tells us that lightning is caused by a buildup of electrical energy in the atmosphere, and this energy is always seeking the path of least resistance to the ground. This means that tall, isolated structures like skyscrapers or trees are prime targets, and they don't just get hit once. The Empire State Building in New York City, for instance, is struck by lightning about 100 times each year. In nature, we see the same phenomenon. Certain trees in forested areas have been struck multiple times. Even people, though significantly less likely, have been known to be struck more than once. So, the truth? Lightning can and does strike the same place twice. Next time a storm rolls in, remember, lightning isn't as discerning as the myth suggests. It'll strike wherever it can find an easy path to the ground. Myth number 5, we need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. This is a commonly heard guideline, but is it really one size fits all? Not quite. Our bodies are unique, and so are our hydration needs. They depend on several factors such as age, weight, activity level, and even climate. A marathon runner in the heat of summer will certainly need more than 8 glasses, while a sedentary individual in a cool climate may need less. Furthermore, hydration isn't just about water. Fluids from other beverages like tea, coffee, and even the water content in our food also contribute to our daily hydration needs. Then there's the thirst mechanism of our bodies. It's a built-in system that signals when we need to drink. So, in essence, the best guideline is to listen to your body and drink when you're thirsty. So, the truth? Hydration needs vary from person to person. Myth number 6, goldfish have a 3-second memory. Now let's dive into this popular misconception. It's time to flush this myth down the drain. Goldfish and their supposed 3-second memory span have been a running joke for many years. However, scientific studies have shown that this is far from the truth. Experiments have demonstrated that goldfish can remember things for several months. In one study, goldfish were trained to associate a light signal with feeding time. Even after a gap of several months, these goldfish responded to the light, expecting food. This clearly shows that goldfish are capable of retaining information much longer than just 3 seconds. So, where did this myth originate? Well, it's difficult to pin down, but it might be due to the observation that goldfish seem to show the same level of excitement every time they see food, giving the illusion of a short memory. So, the truth? Goldfish have much longer memories than we give them credit for. Myth number 7. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. Let's set the record straight on this one. When we think about the vastness of space and the scale of the Great Wall, it feels like this myth could hold some truth, but in reality, it's a different story. Astronauts orbiting the Earth in the International Space Station travel at a height of about 250 miles above the Earth's surface. From this vantage point, it's impossible to see the Great Wall with the naked eye. The wall is only about 30 feet wide. That's too narrow to see from such a great distance, especially when you consider that the human eye can only distinguish objects about 150 feet wide from that height. Even with the assistance of telescopes or cameras, the wall is difficult to distinguish due to the materials it's made of, which blend into the natural landscape. So the truth? The Great Wall of China is not visible from space. Myth number 8, bats are blind. Now, isn't that an interesting concept? But here's the fact, it's not true. Bats are not blind. Quite the contrary, in fact. Yes, bats use a sophisticated system of echolocation to navigate their surroundings and hunt their prey, but that doesn't mean they lack vision. Echolocation is a process where bats emit sounds that bounce off objects in their environment, helping them understand the spatial arrangement of their surroundings. This amazing capability allows them to fly in total darkness, but it does not replace their vision. In reality, many species of bats have excellent sight. Some fruit bats, for instance, have large eyes adapted for low light conditions and are able to see in color. This is especially helpful when they're looking for ripe fruits to munch on. So the next time you hear about bats being blind, remember this. While their echolocation skills are indeed impressive, they also have the power of sight. So the truth, bats are not blind. The myth number 9, sharks can't get cancer. A fascinating belief, isn't it? But let's navigate the waters of reality. The notion that sharks are immune to cancer is a myth that has been perpetuated for years. But the truth is, sharks can and do get cancer. This misconception likely originated from the observation that sharks have remarkable healing abilities and a low rate of disease. However, the existence of cancer in sharks has been scientifically documented. There are several instances of sharks with various forms of cancer, including skin, liver, and even testicular cancer. Scientists and researchers have been studying sharks in hopes of understanding their immune system and finding potential applications for human medicine. But it's crucial to remember that while sharks have impressive healing capabilities, they are not invincible. So, the truth? Sharks can get cancer. And with that, another scientific myth bites the dust. Myth number 10, there is no gravity in space. This statement is a common misconception that has been floating around for quite some time. In reality, gravity is everywhere, even in the seemingly weightless environment of outer space. What we're dealing with here is a concept known as microgravity. The term micro doesn't mean that there is no gravity, but rather that the pull of gravity is so small, it almost seems non-existent. It's like a whisper compared to the shout we experience on Earth. When astronauts float around in space, they're not escaping Earth's gravity. They're actually in a state of constant free fall towards the Earth. But they're also moving forward fast enough to keep missing it. This is what creates the sensation of weightlessness. So it's not that there's no gravity in space, it's that the force of gravity is significantly less than what we experience on Earth. So, the truth, there is gravity in space, just much less than we experience on Earth. So, there you have it. We've busted 10 common science myths. Contrary to popular belief, we use more than 10% of our brains, have more than 5 senses, and water alone doesn't conduct electricity. Lightning can strike the same place twice. You don't need 8 glasses of water a day, and goldfish memories last longer than 3 seconds. The Great Wall isn't visible from space. Bats aren't blind, sharks can get cancer, and yes, gravity exists in space. Remember, science is all about questioning, exploring, and discovering the truth. Stay curious, my friends.